and welcome to IDS. We are super excited to be here. It is amazing to be able to discuss a transformative force in the global technology industry today, which is AI in marketing. And I'm super excited to be sharing the stage with fellow co-panelists, the esteemed co-panelists, and I'd love to go around the room and make a quick round of introductions initially probably, and then I can probably start with opening comments. So do you want to go?
Hi, I'm Abhishek Sharma. I'm from Scatter. We are a boutique content marketing agency. We help enterprise brands scale content. I lead the business development and client servicing at Scatter.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. My name is Anshuk. I'm one of the co-founders of AdYogi. We are a performance marketing agency, been in this space for 10 plus years. We work with e-commerce and retail brands. Have been doing this for the last 10 years, working with 300 plus brands. Brands like Tata Westside, Shoppers Stop, Reliance Brands, Aditya Birla Brands, and have been helping them scale on Meta and Google platforms. We are one of the top 10 partners of Meta in Asia Pacific. Super happy to be part of this panel and talking about AI.
Hey, hi everyone. I'm Niti. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at Starcomm. We're an end-to-end media investment agency.
Hi, I'm Rajiv Dubey. I work for Dabur, which is a 140-year-old company. Hi to you too. And I've been here for most of these 140 years, and I've seen the transformation from being a country with no newspapers, no TV, no cinema. It was not invented back in 1800s, right? From there to television, to satellite television, to social media, to social commerce, to now, use of AI. I've seen all. I don't look 140-year-old, but I'm 140-year-old.
I was going to say, everything you say here shall be used against you, so beware.
Sure, thank you.
Hi, I'm Siddhant Mazumdar. I head Mediabrands Content Studio in India. Mediabrands Content Studio is basically the content arm that sits within IPG Mediabrands, and my job is basically to create content experiences of all shapes and sizes for all of the agencies and clients under the network. So anything from OTT storytelling and all the way, which is the topic of our panel today, which is AI. We do a lot of work in AI, and I'm happy to be here. This is a topic which is very close to my heart, and yeah, looking forward to a great panel.
Thank you very much. At the outset, I want to say AI is no longer just a futuristic concept. It's a present reality. It's here to stay, and it's transforming the way we create content, engage, and create meaningful experiences with consumers. Sorry, you were saying something, Rajiv?
Get closer.
Sorry. It's transforming the way we create, engage, and personalize content today and engage with consumers and create meaningful experiences for consumers. If you look at the numbers today, at the end of 2024, the size of the AI in marketing market globally was about $24 billion, expected to go to about $140 billion in the next 10 years. Just AI in marketing. And that's the kind of unprecedented growth that we expect to see in the next few years. And AI is touching different aspects of marketing, traditional marketing that you and I have done for many years, whether it's audience segmentation, whether it's hyper-personalization, whether it's creative storytelling, whether it's media planning efficiencies. And we're going to touch about a lot of those topics today and probably go in deeper and understand specific examples, case studies, and cool ideas and innovations that are happening today across the board, across all the brands that you work on. So quickly to kind of dive in and get started, how is AI transforming the creative storytelling process today? I think that's the most obvious, it seems like the most obvious starting point, but there is already so much innovation happening there today. I'd love to hear a bunch of examples, case studies and kind of cool examples that you're already seeing today in today's world. So then why don't we get started with you?
So I think there are various ways AI is being used today, right? Like the most basic level, it is actually getting AI to make the stuff for you, right? And I think that's just a very common and a very obvious explanation, right? But there are so many other ways, right? I think one of the most interesting ways is actually using AI to create a brand world in which your consumer can now see themselves in, right? Which would have otherwise been practically impossible to do, right? What I mean by that is, I'll give an example, right? Like we did this campaign for ITC Dark Fantasy with Shah Rukh Khan, right? And in that film, which our partner agency had shot, you have Shah Rukh Khan literally pampering you, right? And there's a lady in there, and he's cutting her hair, and he's grooming her, and she's just so happy to be there, right? Now, what AI enabled us to do is let you put yourself in her shoes, right? So suddenly what happens is you can upload an image, and within 5 minutes you have a video delivered to your mobile in which it's you and it's Shah Rukh Khan pampering you, right? And this is an amazing use case for us because how else would you do it? You cannot create 50,000 or 1 lakh different renditions of your TVC, right? And it enables us to democratize that in a big way. And I think, specifically for a creative person or even for a brand manager, this is a great tool simply because, what happens is finally your main brand asset is getting hyper-personalized by every participant of your audience, right? And they're watching it that many times and they're taking it to so many other people, right? Similarly, I think there are also good use cases where AI is perhaps being, used for good, right? I think some of the Britannia cases, if you might have seen, it actually does that quite well, right? Which it's helping you create content and culture out of inanimate objects in one campaign, right? And that again becomes a great use case. So I think as creative people in the industry, I think our focus should ideally be on how do you elevate your storytelling with AI rather than making AI the only contributor to the storytelling. So it's a tool, it's not the paper that you write the script on, you know what I mean?
Abhishek, do you want to jump in and add from your perspective the kind of examples that you're seeing in creative storytelling?
Yeah. So I think while hyper-personalization is a great use case, forever, I think throughout human history, creativity has been about using a tool to create something. Of late, we saw more virtual tools like Photoshop. I think now we have not a tool, but a co-creator. So it challenges you because sometimes the answer it might spurt out may actually challenge your own biases. Then it's also about choosing what is right for your story, for your brand, and then putting that out. I think that customization, I think creativity has to evolve. It's always been about collaborating with someone, collaborating with a team to create films, to create music, and so on. I think now it's about collaborating with a co-creator who is not human, and that immediate answer kind of gives you a shock. It's about, whoever can tackle that, work better with it, decide what is right for their end goal. I think that allows for better creativity.
I was going to say, we have another great example in probably the best marketer of the country, which is the Prime Minister himself. Every speech of his today is put out in multiple languages that are there in the country, right? And that's a powerful use of AI and marketing for the country, right? And I think we have a lot to learn from the best marketer in the country himself. I was going to segue further in, since you and I think even he touched upon segmentation and personalization. Every marketer for the longest time has had a dream of being able to create one-to-one personalized experiences. And I think with AI, we get closer to that reality. We are able to kind of create almost one-on-one personalized experiences for consumers. I'd love to hear some of the examples that some of you all have been building in terms of AI and personalization and how you're able to create segmentation, find cohorts that you could not have found otherwise traditionally, but are today able to use AI and then find those kind of nooks and corner cohorts of segments that consumers, or segments of consumers that exist today. So, Niti, do you want to?
Yeah, sure. So, I think one of the things that we found really useful, when you look at it from a media perspective or finding the right audiences and getting campaigns to hit the right spot, right? There are lots of AI-enabled tools that we've built. So we've got something at Publicis called Buzz AI, right? So that scans social media, all your traditional databases, everything, your Metas, YouTube, and actually comes out with very sharp insights. And right, that data can then flow very clearly to your campaigns and you can target audiences accordingly, right? So what this does is it saves a lot of time. So one of the things that AI, I think, has started enabling in the agency ecosystem, we are always, kind of hard on time. 24 hours is not enough. So what AI has actually enabled is much faster segmentation, activation of campaigns. So it kind of saves a little bit of time also for people to, bring thinking or softer aspects on board, right? So there are campaigns done across various clients. So, we did something for Oreo where Farhan Akhtar's voice was used, using AI, and there were jokes that he told very customized to the kind of memes you've been surfing, right? So that's a simple example of how AI can actually be brought alive from an audience perspective.
Anshuk, do you want to jump in and talk about segmentation, personalization, and how some of the AI tech layers are able to help you with those specific kind of areas?
Yes, absolutely. So in performance marketing, targeting has always been this sort of holy grail, right? Who do you show ad to today so that they click on the ad and make a purchase today, not tomorrow, not 7 days later. We all want ROAS, and today's ROAS is what we look at, not like 30-day ROAS. So we get this request all the time that how can AI now help in targeting? And I'll take a nice example of Google. I'm sure some of you must be running shopping and performance max campaigns. That's the campaign type which works really well on e-commerce. So just a small help I need from all of you. I have a question for all of you. I'm sure many of you are already on your phones, so just open google.com. And of course, panelists can also help me do that. I'll do that while I'm speaking. And just search these 3 keywords: Mandarin, collar, shirt. So if people can do along with me, I'll just do it myself. I'm just searching these 3 keywords: Mandarin, collar, shirt. How many of us saw at least one of the products from a brand called Rare Rabbit? Maybe we can just show of hands.
I've actually made that search and I've seen that ad
so
for sure.
I buy a lot of stuff from Rare Rabbit, so it's very natural. It would come, but
I think there are people who probably haven't bought also, and I saw
I
a lot
got
of
Mandarin
hands.
flavored vodka actually.
All sales that happen in the next few minutes, I will take the attribution for that.
Yeah, so I just typed Mandarin, so I got vodka first.
Okay.
But now typed shirt, so I got, yeah.
Yes, AI understands that Rare Rabbit sells shirts and not vodka, of course. So I'll tell you the story behind this. So Rare Rabbit, we've been working for the last 6-7 years. They wanted to grow their shirts portfolio. And one thing which we did with them using AI was just take their entire 5,000 catalog and run it by AI. And AI was super intelligent to figure out what's the collar type, what's the color of the shirt, is it like a white or a black, is it like a striped or a solid shirt. It was also able to run through the description on the product page and find out is it a slim fit or a regular fit, is it a cotton or is it some other material, and identify these attributes and put them in the title. Now the very interesting thing is the moment you add these attributes to the title, anybody who is searching these keywords like a Mandarin collar shirt, it matches with the title and those products start showing up on the Performance Max campaign. So very simple example where AI can add hundreds of attributes to each product and that helps in targeting a lot.
I wanted to add there, people like Amazon and Google have been talking a lot about AI layers for product information management, which is kind of building on what you spoke about. Today, the seller does not have to actually create reams and reams of content. They're able to actually auto-generate a lot of the content about the product specifically, exactly like you said, and then almost pre-populate it to be able to kind of present it on the e-commerce website. So I think that's a very, very powerful transformation that's happened. Again, driving a lot of efficiency and effectiveness from that perspective. Rajiv, I wanted to ask you, you mentioned it in the opening comments, the number of years the company's been around. What are the challenges that you've faced and the organizations kind of faced in terms of kind of adopting AI when it comes to marketing specifically, and what are the kind of opportunities that you have seized? And it's a great learning for a lot of companies out there, I'm sure, who've been around for a while and they'd love to emulate what you have done probably.
Right, so first of all, I told you the company is so old and we have been manufacturing and distributing products which are very, very mass products, right from being in Ayurveda to FMCG products like juices to toothpaste, etc. And one is that, hyper-personalization has really, really worked for us in the sense that the same product, like for example, if I take example of red toothpaste, which sells in almost all the geographies in the countries, is number one in a lot of markets, number two in a lot of markets. It's been possible only because of hyper-personalization and targeting. So one is that, but before that, what happens is that even before we get to sell the products, what happens is that, there's a lot of research that happens. And copy testing, for example, or say testing any ad which has been made, starts from there, and our research uses a lot of AI. Then when it comes to manufacturing, the optimization in manufacturing, then imagine we sell to over 100 crore people in the country, right? It reaches to almost 100 crore people, almost 31 crore households in the country. How do we do that? Use of AI in distribution, in supply chain management, these things are very important. But coming back to our core, which is, say, the creative part of it, what we have seen is that it has given power in the hands of, even to the brand manager level. Otherwise, we were dependent only on the creative agency to work on something. So at least what happens is that basic work happens at the brand manager level, and you go to the agency, say that this is what I want, you can improvise on it, okay? So what is that, your thoughts can get transformed into a better brief through this. Then secondly, otherwise it's all garbage in, garbage out. What you have told the agency, they might not understand. But what you're thinking, probably you can transform it into something which is more closer to look and feel. Then I think the time taken, right from the inception of idea till execution, I think there the time has cut a lot. I think almost about 30 to 50% the time is cut. So these are things. Then coming to the media side, which is basically the planning and optimization. So as far as the digital world is concerned, it's all very clean, and we understand everything. As far as television is concerned, still there's a lot of room for improvement, because right now planning still happens on very archaic tools. The data is very old, and it's not very dynamic. So one still has to rely on that old data and has to plan. Second is the cost optimization side, So it's very opaque world. You don't know the costs which exist in the market as clearly as what you do in digital world. So your dependence on a fewer partners, because you're working with a fewer partners, and as compared to the digital world, it becomes very opaque. So that transparency will come in as it gets democratized. And so that's what I'm hoping for. But the media planning still has to go a long way into optimization and AI-based media planning. We are just scratching the surface, I would say. And cost efficiencies will come once we have that.
Abhishek,
I just wanted to add a great use case we recently figured out. So we work with this very large private bank. And as with any other bank, they have a lot of loans that don't often get repaid in time. And that leads to additional cost on the bank's books. What we've been able to do is, using AI, they have a hyper-personalization engine. We are able to understand the insights of who is about to miss a payment, who generally has a tendency to miss a payment. So we can send a creative T-3 days, T-2 days, T+1 days. And these creatives tend to get more alarming as the time passes. Over the last 3 months, we've been able to individually each month collect more than 600 crores from people using just these creatives, using this kind of targeting, which is now possible.
I'd like to add a point to this. I think, what Rajiv said is that when brands use AI at their end to write better briefs, that's like music to my ears, because obviously, you've refined the creative process in a way that you started from the right step. But I think a point for the creative people in the room would be that I don't think we should use AI to just come up with the thing, right? Because at core creativity, AI is still not good enough, right? AI is a great skill gap builder for you. Like, for instance, if you are, let's say, 2 years into advertising, and someone's given you a brief to come up with a platform line, which is obviously something, a very senior person would do. It does help you figure out what works, what doesn't work. It also helps you understand whether you're on the right track, right? But can it come up with a powerful line? I think it's still a few steps short. And that's a great use case for you. You know, if you have an idea, use AI to verify your idea and add arms and legs that you would otherwise not think of immediately because, you know, maybe it's 15 years of experience or 20 years of experience would have gotten you there. But today, let AI do that heavy lifting.
Yeah, so we are seeing a lot of young people using AI. So media planners have become creative people. Thanks.
That's scary
so
for us.
I actually had someone from my team get me a logo that, look, I made this. I was like, please don't go into that territory, you know. So it's also leading to a lot of interesting experimentation. Yeah, so.
I was, actually, all of you touched a point that I mull about a lot. Where does human creativity start and end? Where does AI take over? Where does human creativity come back and complete the creative process today, right? Someone asked me this question 2 days ago, or was it during our discussion? I don't remember, but it came up 2 days ago. If two different people in two different cities, Rajiv asked the question when we were discussing this, and it's an interesting question. The question for the audience, I will repeat this. When we were discussing this earlier this week, and we were kind of having a conversation about our conversation here, our panel here, Rajiv asked a question. Two different people in two different cities give the same or a very similar prompt today. Will the brief prompt, will the output look exactly similar? Right? And we think that it takes into context a lot of personal context of the specific individual. So if Siddhant's given that specific prompt versus Abhishek's given that specific prompt versus you've given that specific prompt, the context is taken in. I think what AI lacks today is the human emotion, that human connect. I'm a big fan of a sense of humor, a tangential connect, for example, which can AI produce the next Amul ad? When, keeping in mind the context that has happened just recently, somebody won a tournament, somebody won a medal.
Yeah.
I think never say never, but today I think that's probably where it's missing. But I'm curious to hear from all of y'all about where does human creativity end, where does AI kick in?
So, you know, I think, Mahesh, the Amul ad still might be easy for AI to do, right? Because it's just picking up, you know, let's say Virat Kohli gets married, you convert that, and it's a templatized format. It's the deeper ads, like, you know, if you remember the Asian Paints ad with, you know, Har Ghar Kuch Kehta Hai, poetry at the back of it. Those are the ones that I think will be tough for AI, at least at the moment, to completely crack, right? So I think for creative people, and I'm saying this, I'm sorry, as the non-creative person on this panel, but I think for creative people, I've seen AI work really well as an enabler. So as long as a creative person, you don't build boundaries or you don't get, let's say, insecure about it, use it like a tool, right? Like any other, like you use Photoshop or Canva or whatever. Use it as a tool to make whatever you are doing and thinking much better, elevated, faster. I think that's probably the interplay that will work best.
Do you want to chip in?
I just am reminded of a cartoon, you know, I was reading it, you know, so the boss is telling his subordinate that, suppose the guy's name is, say, Rajesh. Rajesh, nobody can take your job because nobody knows what you do. So, you know, people at the jobs which are not known to people, like, you know, which are not very well known, I think those jobs are still safe. Thankfully, you know, all of us, most of us are bald here. He's balding and, you know, some sane people as well. So, so the thing is that something which is available out on the field, there's a lot of data available. I think those things are very easy to copy and say generate. So like I was coming to that point, but if you give the same prompt to two different LLMs, will you get the same kind of output? I think it all depends on what learning that model has had. Similarly, same thing happens with humans. You know, even a small difference will make a difference in prompt will give you a different kind of output. Like what is said about two twins, right? If they're two twins who have grown up in the same atmosphere, but they both turn out to be different people because, their experiences and their learning is very different. I would apply the same principle to this, that different LLMs and different models will give you different output. That's my take, perhaps.
I think the example we took here was an Amul ad. It's largely, a character and animation. It's in that space. It's a caricature. Yeah, I think those things are easy for AI to, figure and adapt. And if you actually probably feed like thousands of Amul ads, it will actually come up with the 1001th ad itself. The context might not be as great. Indian cricket team winning a match and Virat Kohli being called out in Amul's ad, AI might not get there. However, a large part of deeper, more meaningful creatives, as Niti also said, maybe more films, videos, ad films, those require a person you can connect to on the screen, whichever screen you're watching it on for an end user. Like Iron Man made by AI won't be as meaningful as the Tony Stark, the character, the actor who portrays it is. In that sense, it gets amplified because now you can, you can visualize, you can create a storyboard immediately, and you can experiment with it every day, even before you go on the actual production shoot. So I think that part, the pre-production part gets amplified, the post-production part gets amplified. The real creativity of, getting that emotion out for the end user, that still remains largely human.
I was just going to ask both of you all that, in fact, and Anshuk as well. The creativity is still human,
Yes.
but the ability to be able to storyboard quickly and then almost visualize how it could potentially look and thereby driving significant efficiency has now changed. Is that a fair statement?
Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, just to add to one of the points that was being made, AI is a great judge. It's not a great creative person. It's a very average creative person. It comes up with run-of-the-mill lines, run-of-the-mill scripts, at least for now. Where it will go from here, I'm not sure, right? But there will be a lot of times in your creative brainstorms, or let's say you have a very, enthusiastic brand manager, right, who may have come up with his own idea, an own script, right, and is very gung-ho about it. And you may feel like, I may rub this person the wrong way if I give like negative feedback. Use AI for it, right? Because the AI will give you a lovely 30-mark essay as to why this works or it doesn't work, right? So use it to diffuse such situations and also to truly validate whether what you have come up with, because you cannot replace human insight. It's not possible. Can AI give you a source for that insight? Yes. But what you do with that and what you come up with and how you layer emotions on it, that will continue to be a human game.
But on that point, and I want to come to you, Anshuk, on that point, the summarization of the consumer insights is significantly faster using AI.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
The insight has been culled by humans
Yes.
with a survey and with a conversation, with a bunch of conversations. But the summarization and the key takeaways that we would always want, which took probably days to kind of get together,
Absolutely.
probably is now getting done in seconds.
So I want to just jump in and because you spoke about storyboarding, I want to share an experience very recent with me. So we have an upcoming webinar on omni-channel marketing. So I thought I'll probably just see if AI can create the deck for me. My marketing team takes a lot of time, unfortunately, to do that. So I went to this tool called Gamma AI. I would highly recommend all of you to check it out. And I told Gamma AI a simple prompt. I said, I have an upcoming webinar on omni-channel marketing. I want to cover mostly Meta and Google strategies on how an e-commerce brand can do omni-channel marketing. So covered those 4 or 5 keywords which is more relevant to the webinar. The Gamma AI tool was able to structure the deck. It said, okay, this is how I'm structuring the deck. Why is omni-channel important? What are the key platforms for omni-channel marketing? What are the key campaign types? The interesting part is it was able to bring in that understanding that Google has this performance max for store campaign and what are the best practices for it, how it can help a brand actually measure the footfall, and all of it, it was able to bring in on its own. And then you can actually go to each slide. This is the most interesting part. You could go to each slide and interact with the slide. So I can tell him on the right side, can you put a template of 2 stores and the data flowing from those stores to Facebook, it will generate the image and put it on the right side. I could tell it on the left side, instead of 2 bullet points, can you remove this second bullet point and change it into offline copy, it will add that point. but it will add it from an intelligent point of view. It will not just put the keyword, it will understand what offline copy is and put it in that. So in many ways, the way I used to give instructions to my marketing guy, and they would take it and give me the deck in like 3 days, AI was able to take those instructions and give me in like 20 seconds on each slide. So definitely highly recommend people to check out.
That's amazing.
AI.
Abhishek,
Yeah,
sir,
you still need to have a very good product to sell, right? So we can't tell AI, hey, AI, go and sell Chyawanprash for me. It won't sell. You still have to have a good product. What it can do is that make a good creative, make a good plan for you, optimize it, take you to the consumer. But ultimately, you have to have, because our business is very repeat order business, right? You have to go to the same consumer again and again. So you can go to the consumer for the first time. Second time, you have to like really, you'll sell only if you're a good product, right? So, so that always remains. So always, we are always told that saman tumko hi bechna hai. AI nahi bechega.
That's true. That's very true.
I think the big question in that round for me was, could AI have produced the following? Hamara Bajaj, utterly butterly delicious. Har ghar kuch kehta hai. Not today. We don't know the near future. It could have probably visualized what Har ghar kuch kehta hai should look like.
Yeah.
But that is human intelligence, right? Yeah. Har ghar kuch kehta hai or Hamara Bajaj is human intelligence. Yeah. Can you transform that and fast track that into how it could potentially look? Yes. Yeah. Can you write that thought? Not yet, in my view. And I think that's the point that we were discussing. Tricky question. How do you measure the impact of AI in marketing in your own world? And all the people sitting here, all the esteemed panelists here,
I think there's only one measurement of sales. Kitna dhanda hua? What is your growth? There's no other measurement which can prove that something has gone right or not. You can just visually you can say this creative looks much more appealing because been made with AI. You can say, okay, I've done some potential cost savings because of optimization in media. But ultimately, what drives business is something which is still very gray, which lies within the product itself.
But Rajiv, I'm saying the sales guy is going to come and say, hey, we did a great job. We pushed ourselves. We worked on Sundays, like the L&T guy said. And, we got to use the sales. It's not AI. How do you attribute the incremental impact of that AI is able to now have on marketing? And it's a trick question. I think a lot of us around the world are trying to figure it out.
So I think it's a tricky question, right? And I don't think the honest answer, I believe, is I don't think we've got there yet, right? I think we are still grappling with the process of it. So, the impact of AI, one can maybe measure how you've done something faster, you've done something cheaper, you've done it instead of 3 headcounts with 1 headcount, right? So maybe a marketing team becomes 1 brand manager instead of a group of 3, I don't know. But the business impact, like Rajiv was saying, that how has it actually enabled driving sales? Maybe some of the D2C brands, would be able to talk about it.
Even quick commerce, quick commerce adoption of AI and, and in terms of fulfillment, in terms of predicting what will sell. So in this area, it has definitely helped. But most of the other trades, like something which is very opaque, like general trade, etc., there is still, there's no information available, hence you can't do much with respect to this whole AI.
I think largely for large enterprises, which the work has been predominantly team-based, role-based, collaboration-based, AI's impact is hard to measure. I think that's where even Mr. Rajiv is coming from. I think specifically for entrepreneurs, people who are selling T-shirts and sweatshirts online, D2C, for them to be able to come up with their own creatives, run their own ads, something which would have required for them to either hire someone or outsource it to someone, they can now do it themselves. And I think largely to individual small business owners, it's of great use and that has immediate significant impact. It saves time, it amplifies your creativity. You can put out 1,000 iterations of the same T-shirt with different designs at a moment's notice. I think that is where the major impact right now is. I think with agentic AI coming in, a large part of call center stuff might change, or where your warehouses are, what needs to go where, that kind of supply chain might change for now. In terms of marketing creativity, I think we've yet to see a great use case.
That's a great segue into what I wanted to talk about next, which is agentic AI, and how that's going to impact marketing, right? And I'd love to get your views on how you guys are thinking about, you folks are thinking about harnessing agentic AI, creating AI agents to be able to then automate and better output some of the regular tasks that you have, and how you're thinking about the agentic AI framework at a very, very high level.
Yeah, I can actually share something there. So we have seen that images play a very important role when it comes to e-commerce and fashion apparel. So this is one thing we have been trying with agentic AI, that we picked up a brand which has a lot of plain vanilla white background images, and we were able to build a small agent, very small one on top of it, where the person who is creating the ad could actually add an input that I want the background to be more outdoor, and I want to look like a fort background in a daytime, which has some park on the side and the person standing in front of it with a shadow on the floor. So if you just put this one line, it will pick up those 10 images, change the background as per the prompt which you have given it, and actually run the ad with these nice looking backgrounds instead of the white background. And we could also measure using an A/B test what kind of an impact we can generate. So I think there are these small agentic use cases, which AI agents, which companies can fire and use them in marketing, I would say.
Right. Let's talk about the other side. I think a lot of you all would have read about Coca-Cola, for example, this year, at the end of last year, put out an AI-generated ad that literally ruined Christmas for a lot of the consumers. I think this is the flip side, right? And I'm curious to hear how all of you folks are, what are the kind of guardrails that you are putting together today as you are thinking about building AI into your marketing and creative storytelling process?
So the Coca-Cola example is actually a very good example of how not to use AI, in my opinion.
Exactly.
Right? Because, I mean, you've taken a festival which has such rich emotions and you've made a creative which is completely devoid of that. Right? And I think the problem in our industry is that, whenever we see a shiny object, we want to be the first ones running towards it, right? So someone said AI and said, oh, you can make films with AIs, and Coca-Cola, someone said, let us be the first one to make a festive film, right? This completely defeats the purpose, right? I mean, what is the point of making a cold film for a Christmas campaign just to gain this tag that I was the first one to do it, right? So we need to drop that, right? We have to ensure that AI only amplifies human emotion and storytelling rather than becoming the storytelling. People only noted that, oh, it was done by AI. Did anyone stay past the third second? Because it was just recurring AI created visuals and a fancy track, right? So that's a trap, and I think it's best if people figure out, no, this is not a good direction for my brand, right? AI is a tool, AI is not my campaign, right? So that I think is a great starting point for us. Right? And more such campaigns when they come, I think, a lot of people copied Coca-Cola. They all look the same. They will continue looking the same. But it's a trend that I think will eventually fizzle out, like with the other shiny objects in our industry.
I think there are more and more AI platforms that are also giving the capability for brands to be able to at least set brand guardrails, the brand identity, the brand look and feel can be specified. But there is still a human audit that needs to happen. I wish someone had looked at, hey, is the Christmas emotion being captured in that, rather than being completely blinded by the fact that this is completely AI generated and we're going to go tell the world that this is this shiny new object that we managed to create. I think that's an important aspect of marketing and brand, for example, which we tend to forget using all these new age tools, but I think it's something that's going to be relevant. I want to do a quick 30-second quick fire before we take questions from the audience. Your favorite AI generated marketing campaign, and let's start with the lady on the stage.
I think the Farhan Akhtar campaign that I spoke of, the Oreo one, I think that connected with me personally as well, not just because we did it. Yeah, so that would probably be
Fantastic.
mine.
Rajiv?
I saw one campaign last year. It was one cruise company, I think Virgin Voyages. They had Jennifer Lopez come and talk to you in person, and
Nice.
I think that was a very good campaign, which re-registered. It was perhaps around the same time when Cadbury's campaign happened. I think both are the same, but that was also like it talked about a lot globally.
Nice.
A very, very good campaign.
Siddhant?
So
Shah Rukh Khan.
I'll be a little shameless here. So if you walk over to the IA stall, which is just outside the door, there you'll see this lovely little creative for the Mirzapur campaign that we've done.
Love it.
So you might remember that at the end of the last season in Mirzapur, right? Like it was Guddu Bhaiya
Guddu.
who was on top,
Correct.
right? And we created this interactive storyline where on WhatsApp. So you were basically talking to Guddu, right? And he's talking back. And he's saying that, I'll give you a chance to be, the guy who sits on top of the gaddi in Mirzapur because I have other fish to fry. And so he starts testing you. He'll start testing your knowledge. He'll ask you, so we basically had this scene in which, there's a gangster, he's held a gun on his head and he's asking you, ki kya karna hai? Bhi bal ka prayog karna hai ki buddhi ka prayog karna hai? And you get to choose basis your answer. And then the story progresses and you see yourself in the film. So you are standing next to Guddu and Golu, you've got a gun in your hand and you're looking all sorts of crazy and then the storyline progresses. Now, why I love it, obviously one of the reasons because I did it, right? But outside of that, it got great traction, right? Because people just started thinking that this is an audition reel.
Yeah.
Like, they started saying, hi, I want to be in Mirzapur. And they started sending their audition photos
can I
saying,
sit on
cast
the
me in the
gaddi?
next one. So that's the power of AI because it just says that, you can now be part of my world.
Right.
Come join in by the hundreds and millions. Yeah. So yeah, do
Fantastic.
walk over and try the experience for yourself.
Anshuk?
So I'll talk about this brand, Bewakoof, may not be very popular, but it's a t-shirt
Of course,
brand
Johnny Sins.
targeting Gen Z. And we saw that overnight, they actually changed their entire catalog using AI. And now the interesting part was not only the images changed, the models also changed. So the models changed, the background changed, and we saw that there was a huge uplift in the click rates just by getting the entire catalog. And now the good part is they can actually change it every weekend. So it doesn't have to be like, they don't have to have a photo shoot, studio shoot, you can do it practically whenever you want to.
Fascinating.
I have a similar example for if you ever have been to AdYogi, you look at their homepage every day. A lot of it is AI generated every day, and it seems like there is this new great sale on. It's been the same sale running for the past 30 days, but it just seems new. There is a new feel to it. Barbie feel, Oppenheimer feel. It just continues to grow on you every day.
Fascinating. Fantastic. Thank you so much, co-panelists. I think we should take a bunch of questions before we wrap up.